while life insurance is a really simple product at its core kind of foundation, it's also to really understand everything that life insurance can do in your life if you really properly implement it and utilize it for all the benefits that it brings to the table. It takes a while to really internalize that, right? So you as an entrepreneurial life insurance agent, what is your job? Your job is to not sit in front of, a prospect and try to sell them what you have. Your job is to just sit down and connect with them and try to identify their problems. And when you do that, if you're really, really good as a life insurance agent, what you're going to be able to do is identify problems and know your product offerings, whether it's life insurance or even disability or, term life, whole life, like whatever your offerings are that you want to focus on, knowing what problems the products that you offer solve, right? Hey, what's going on, cash flow hackers? It is Chris and Cole with Life 180. And today we're going to be talking about, I think, something that's really important for a lot of the audience here. And that is ultimately why it is that, or some reasons at least, that 95% of the agents in the world that join the life insurance business or industry ultimately fail in the first 3 years of the business. And that's not our opinion, that's a statistic, right? It's one of the reasons that I'm personally, I know you're personally as well, so passionate about the fact that trying to put content out there about creating systems that will help agents succeed. It's why I've tried to illuminate a lot of stuff around companies like World Financial Group and PHP and like to kind of draw light to the fact that there's so many kind of moral hazards in the compensation plan, because it is really hard for an agent to start and succeed in this business. And if you can make it, it's like the most amazing career ever. Getting through that first 3 year period is really hard. And so what I thought would be cool, and Cole and I were talking about this, is to come on, do a video and just kind of have a conversation about why is it that agents struggle? Why do they fail? What's holding them back? I won't even say any more than that. That's what we're gonna get into. And so, what are your thoughts?
It's just crazy to me. Like Chris was just saying, that 95% of people that try to have a career in this business fail within the first 3 years. These are just glaring stats. Yep. But yet, the other side of it is that when it comes to a financial plan, something that everybody needs, whether they have a financial plan or not, people have a relationship with money in their life. Life insurance is the most pragmatic, necessary, fundamental way to design a financial plan.
Yep.
I mean, we all know this. But yet, if it's so necessary and isn't there a big gap there? Like this gap between the value of life insurance and the success of financial advisors is really, really glaring. Chris and I share a deep passion for financial advisors' success when it comes to the most valuable financial product that we can kind of put forward. So we're obviously showing up in the wrong way. Advisors are obviously showing up in a way that confuses the mind, that makes their warm market, their friends, family, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, children run away at the word life insurance.
Totally. It's like used car salesman.
Get out of my way, used car salesman. Life insurance agent coming through.
So true. No, there's no doubt about it. And so let's talk about this really quickly. Like Cole and I were just kind of talking about this, like I said, really briefly before we started filming. And one of the things a couple of things that came to my mind is, why do agents fail? Well, first of all, there's a ramp up period to understand this, while life insurance is a really simple product at its core kind of foundation, it's also to really understand everything that life insurance can do in your life if you really properly implement it and utilize it for all the benefits that it brings to the table. It takes a while to really internalize that, right? So one of the hardest parts with sales in general is that you can't be thinking about what you're going to say next. You have to be able to internalize it and know what the answers are. I always say you got to think like an entrepreneur, not a life insurance salesperson, right? And what does an entrepreneur do? An entrepreneur solves problems, right? That's all they do. So you as an entrepreneurial life insurance agent, what is your job? Your job is to not sit in front of a prospect and try to sell them what you have. Your job is to just sit down and connect with them and try to identify their problems. And when you do that, if you're really, really good as a life insurance agent, what you're going to be able to do is identify problems and know your product your product offerings, whether it's life insurance or even disability or, term life, whole life, like whatever your offerings are that you want to focus on, knowing what problems the products that you offer solve, right? So that way when you're having a conversation, it's not trying to sell anybody anything. It's just like identifying challenges and articulating solutions. That's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, there's a 4-letter word called MATH, and it kind of leads me to product training. If you're on a team or you are in an agency and there's not a serious commitment when you're in a room with these people, if you're sitting around slapping high fives and talking and quoting Tony Robbins, I mean, that's cool, but at some point in time you got to get down to MATH. You got to get down to product training.
Yep.
And the more you can repeat and stay in the discomfort of the math when it comes to life insurance, the easier it is over time when you're in front of those people, and it comes, as Chris was saying, it comes naturally to you to actually have the math conversation in a very simplistic, straightforward way that is undeniable, because once people see a math solution to a problem, it's critical. It can't be really disputed. And that's really the lens of that life insurance has been missing for a very long period of time, is actually sitting in a room with your team and doing product training, like really getting the carriers to come in, the life insurance agencies to come in.
Yeah.
And why aren't we doing that? I mean, why are we spending all this time high-fiving and trying to be Tony Robbins when really we need to really just understand life insurance from a critical perspective?
Agreed. But here's what I'll say. So I'm going to push back on you a little bit.
All right, please.
Okay.
Do.
So
you're not going to go Tony Robbins on me.
No. I mean, I can't. Not quite that good. But what I'm going to say is, like, so you talk about the carriers coming in and doing training and leaning on them, and there's a place and there's a time for that.
I see where the pushback is coming.
Okay, so that my experience. Listen, I used to work for a Fortune 1000 doing training, and I know what you're taught on that side of things to train, and that's to train to sell all the fancy things to make sales out of it, right? Which is great, but we all need to put our head on our pillow at night and not know that we're not only making sales, but we're making the right sales and serving people and adding value to their lives.
What is an example of that fancy thing?
The IUL? Yes. Oh, yeah. So, I'm not going to go into like the details of, we have playlists on that stuff, but here's what I'll say, coming back to the training.
Yeah.
There are so many organizations out there where they get you in, they get you hyped, you get licensed, you're excited, and all of the training winds up being, 95% of the training winds up being on recruiting and team building and all that stuff. And I'm going to challenge anybody to say that if you are getting into this business and the first thing you're thinking about is recruiting and building the team before you know what the heck you're doing, like, it's backwards. It's backwards thinking. It's not going to lead to success. You're focused on the wrong areas. You're not going to be able to serve your clients in an effective or impactful way. And you're always going to be questioning yourself. And I've had so many conversations with agents who have gone through that process that have ruined relationships with family, with friends, that got into these IUL policies in most of these situations where they got into them, and then their friends pissed off at them 4 years later because the policy was designed improperly. It wasn't, it's not performing. It's all these things. But guess what? They didn't know what they were doing. They started recruiting and selling before they even understood, and they just trusted their upline. There's such a moral hazard in that whole system right out of the gate. This person ultimately ended up failing in that company because the nature of the way the training was focused. And so what I would say is there's kind of a framework. I love the phrase, you got to become more, right? If you want to hit the next level, like who you are right now when you join this industry, who I am, who Cole is, we need to become more to get where we want to go. I don't care where you are. What got you where you are right now? I'm going Tony Robbins. What got you where you are right now is not going to get you where you want to go, right?
Drop an F-bomb?
Right. No, I'm not going to do that. No, YouTube doesn't like that.
No.
But what got you right here, and I don't care who you are, if you're Cole, if you're me, if you're Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is the prime example of this. He never stops. He's constantly growing and improving himself and living intentionally. And I don't know if you know this, but Life 180 stands for living intentionally for excellence. That's it, right? Like intentional living is the most important part of success. If you are not making every decision with specific intent, then you're going to struggle. And so when you get into this business, you have to think about, like, what is it going to take for me to be successful? Who do I need to become successful? And who you need to become is a person who is an expert, who is surrounded by people that you trust, who's not focusing on just telling you go recruit, build your team, because that's a very internal consumption model that's focused on helping them build their team. Whether you succeed or not, they're at least going to get a policy sale out of you and get some from the people you recruit. They don't really, I don't want to say they don't care, because I think a lot of people probably do ultimately want you to succeed because it benefits them, but it's not from a pure perspective of really helping and serving you. And your job when you get into this industry is to take it with a serious level of responsibility and realize that when people come to you with it's not just you. This is why I kind of hate the MLM model, even though I love network marketing as a whole. I love it. I've consulted with networking. Right about it. Yeah. But when it comes to if you're doing it with lotion or like vitamins or something, cool. Because guess what? It's really easy. But when you're dealing with financial products and people's livelihood and their futures and their legacies and all that stuff, one mistake can take 15 years to make up for.
And that mistake ruins your credibility with the people that you need the most in your life. And often it's your family. That's the big problem with MLM is that the MLM leadership team is constantly running you out into your warm market, who are the people that you admire the most, and there are bridge burnings happening with these people. And to remend a bridge with your family is not one in this life or in any life that you really should be tasked with. The easiest way to attract your family and your friends and your warm market and the people that you want to serve is, as Chris pointed out, understand the difference, say fundamentally and very critically, between universal life insurance and whole life insurance. Really do a deep dive, get uncomfortable, and understand the math behind those two products first. Then you'll kind of come to a decision as to how you want to show up and what you want to explain and implement in terms of a financial strategy into your friends and family's life. And then go out and become successful. If money is important to you, drive what you want, wear what you want, show up in a material way how you want. If that's important to you, maybe tithing is important to you, maybe giving is important to you, maybe donations, maybe you want to show up in your church community and you want to be that person that donates $1 million a year because that's 50% of your income to your church. Maybe that's important to you. Then and only then will your friends and family come to you and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Advisor, son, daughter, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, niece, nephew, I want to be just like you. I like the way you show up. I like the way you tithe. I like the way you give. I like your car. How do you do it? Oh, actually, I'll see. My calendar's a little booked right now. I'll try and fit you in. I got it maybe about 3 weeks from now. I got a space. Here's my calendar link. Here's my assistant. I'd love to talk to you a little bit about that. That's how you affect your friends and family. And you can have that in this industry, provided you show up in the right way and you're critical about how you approach the business.
And I think the hard part is you gotta, in a lot of businesses it's this way, but especially in this space, you gotta be willing to go slow to go fast, right? Like
totally.
You have to be willing and able to kind of have a cash burn. You gotta think about this like a business launch. You're not getting a job to be a salesperson. You're an entrepreneur. You're launching your own independent business. And you have to think about it like that. If you get into this business, the beautiful thing is you can get in and do this part-time. You can kind of create a bridge. You can do that. And I'm okay with that. Like, as long as it's done with the right system and the right training and the right process, and you're doing it, utilizing that bridge as a way to become an expert from a product perspective, from a service perspective that you could go out and just sell, not using it to build your team, to like hope they're going to do all the work for you kind of thing. Like, and so being a product of the product, making sure that, you own the policies, you are practicing what you preach, that all the nuances of, everything inside and out. And honestly, that's when I first started creating these videos and y'all that have been watching this channel, are we in Texas? That have been watching this channel, for the past, I don't know, however period of time. If you've been watching recently in the past couple months, you've been seeing Cole more and more regularly on the channel. And that's because Cole moved down here from Canada, Toronto, right? And we're in Phoenix. We're in Phoenix, just so you know. And he's basically helping run Life 180 now. He's helping take it to the next level because of the fact that it doesn't take a lot of digging in my channel to realize like how I feel about these things. done a lot of videos on World Financial Group, PHP, PFA, like different organizations that I think, maybe had the best good intent, but the execution is really challenging and a lot of people are struggling. And I don't think they're setting people up for success in the right way. And so I did all that for full transparency for everybody. I haven't had my license since 2016, right? So I mentioned that on a lot of videos, but if you've never seen that before, I think that's important to understand. I've been doing this just because I have a passion about the industry. I love helping agents be successful. I love helping them do their marketing. I love helping them, understand the products and be educated and be able to show up more powerfully for their clients. And quite frankly, I just enjoy this stuff, doing content and sitting in my studio and doing this stuff. It's just fun for me. This is what I do in my free time. And when Cole was like, we need to build an agency, and I want to partner with you and I want to take Life 180 to the next level and do this, I was like, oh my gosh, like finally I got a guy who is like on the level, who wants to do it the right way. And so we're partnering up. And that's, if you've noticed a little pivot in the content and a little pivot in the messaging, and we got the cash flow hacking thing coming out, we got all these different things that are coming out as a way for us to serve the end user client, but it's also systems that we're building and resources and support and training that are all product and advisor focused to help you become a better advisor, to help you become a better agent, a better value add to your community, whatever that is, right? And that's why we're doing what we're doing, because it's almost like an agent rescue plan, right? Like there's so many agents. Totally. I have no illusions. I know we can't save them all, right? But like if 95% of agents are failing, if we can take 10% of those people that really want to make it work, that are willing to dedicate and put, themselves through whatever process they need to go through to become who they need to become to be able to achieve what they want to achieve, that's what this is all about to me.
Full-time advisors. Part-time advisors aren't sustainable. That life preserver, there's only so many life preservers on the boat. Do you want a part-time surgeon? Hey, I need some brain surgery. My financial advisor's part-time, my brain surgeon's part-time. You can't be part-time, and that's why they fail. And that's why you might fail, is if you can't go full-time, you can't get critical. There's a ton of content here. I'm going to let the man throw this video.
Yeah, that's awesome. So guys, I hope that served you. If it did, if you think you're going to want to learn any more about this kind of content, we got a video dropping literally every single day. We engage with everything. So make sure you hit the subscription button, click the bell. That way you get notified every time we launch a new video. If you know somebody who's in some of these organizations, if you know somebody who's struggling, share this video with them. Get this out to them. We have lots of resources. We got a new book dropping. We got a new challenge that's going to be dropping at the beginning of the year. So make sure you get set up now, because we're going to have some marketing coming out a little preemptively for it all. It's going to be exciting. At the end of this, we got a couple cool videos for you to watch. Make sure to stick around, keep the journey going. And until next video, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll see you then.